Let's get to the big story. This morning on the big story, we'll focus on the NRM party, which of late has been having a couple of challenges financially. They say they are broke, and because they are broke, they are laying off staff. But there's other officials within the party who are saying this brokenness has been, the genesis of it is that some party officials have misused money and several other things that are happening. There are fights therein. So we seek to understand what exactly is happening at the NRM Secretariat, because clearly all doesn't seem to be well. We are joined by Augustine Otuko. Augustine is the Executive Assistant in charge of research. That's at the NRM Secretariat. Good morning, Augustine.
Good morning.
Let me ask you a very direct question. Are you guys broke?
We are not. How can we be broke when we are party in power? We are not.
That's an interesting response. So it presupposes that when you are in power, you cannot be broke, because after all, you have access to state funds, to public funds, to tax money, or what? What does that mean?
No, that's not the case. The issue is that when you're in power, you establish several networks, both within and outside of the country, that can be an avenue of harvesting, probably, for example, fundraising for political activities of the party. So I do not think that if you're in power, you can be able to, you can fail to raise funding. So what is true is that when you're in power, you have a platform that gives you an avenue to be able to network across the world. So
let's be honest, you also have direct access to funds. I keep saying that I'm a supporter of your party, supporter not willingly, but supporter with my tax money, because many times, you know, when I see some of the NRM activities, NRM caucus and so on, my tax money is used for those things. When they meet at State House and so on, they're using my tax money. So you should be saying thank you to people like me and several others. But that's a debate we shall dig into.
Yes.
Augustine, I don't know whether to believe you or your Secretary General, because your Secretary General came on television and she said, look, we don't have money. We have run out of funds, and that's why we are going to lay off staff, over 400 of them. And the reason she gave is because there is no money, but you are denying that. So who should I believe?
Well, I think it's important to appreciate the genesis of this. In 2014, around December, when there was a delegates conference, a national delegates conference, members of the national conference proposed that the secretariat, the members who were appointed to the secretariat, first of all, they changed the position of Secretary General to be appointive and other positions. And the proposal was that to make a secretariat a full-time organization, and full-time in terms of operations. Unfortunately, at the time of the appointment of the Secretary General and others who were appointed at the National Secretariat, it came at a time when we were gearing towards elections. So when she was appointed, she did not have enough time, and others, her and her team did not have enough time to be able to look into the management issues of the National Secretariat. So she was having a challenge of individuals who were employed under the former Secretary General, and she also had the need to recruit staff that would be able to execute her duties as a Secretary General. So it was a very tricky moment. Then there was also an issue that existed at that time. The political atmosphere at that time did not enable a restructuring process, because there was a lot of blackmail. People thought there are those who believed that whoever worked under the National Secretariat during the time of her mama actually believed in her mama. So I think she was wise at that time not to do a restructuring process immediately, because some individuals would have been victimized innocently, probably because they worked under Mbabazi. Now, with the consultation with the top leadership of the party, the National Secretariat under the leadership of Lumumba preferred that this exercise would be handled after elections, considering also the fact that during elections you need a lot of workforce. So it was actually prudent at that time that whoever was available was necessary to hold them for that moment, because we needed a workforce that would enable us achieve the target of winning an election. Now, what happened is that through consultations, the process immediately after elections, that was actually in 2017, last year, the process began of debating, making proposals of what is needed of an effective secretariat that will act as a full-time operational secretariat, but putting in mind that we minimize costs while enhancing effectiveness and efficiency. So these proposals were made to the Central Executive Committee by the National Secretariat leadership. The debate started at the Central Executive Committee. The debate started at the Central Executive Committee, and after that, other several meetings were held by the top management to ensure that they find how best to streamline the secretariat, to have a lean secretariat that is cost-effective, but at the same time efficient in ensuring that we achieve the political target at hand.
Tanga Odoi, your EC chairperson, has not for the first time raised the red flag, and he has talked about issues of incompetence by the Secretary General and the team that works under her, issues to do with mismanagement of the affairs of the Secretariat and mismanagement of funds. You know, he says money was released to the Secretariat, but it's been misused, abused, and misappropriated by the Secretary General and her team. Those are his words. He's been spitting a lot of fire lately. What's your response to what he's been saying?
Well, my senior comrade, Dr. Tanga, is entitled to his opinion, but he happens to be my boss as well. My thinking is that what we are seeing in the media and what is being portrayed out there is a clash between the basic principles of management and the actual practice. Because in terms of basic principles of management, the Secretary General is the Chief Accounting Officer of the National Secretariat. And she happens to be the head of administration in all political organs, from the National Conference, the National Executive Committee, the Central Executive Committee, even in commissions where, for example, Dr. Tanga Odoi falls. The Director Legal who reports to the Secretary General is the Secretary to the Electoral Commission, meaning the Commission is not per se probably autonomous. It is probably, maybe we can say it is semi-autonomous, because the Director Legal who reports to the Secretary General is the Secretary to the Commission, the Electoral Commission. So my thinking is that what we are seeing is against the NRM ethical code of conduct. And I think what is also must be appreciated is that the strength of NRM is derived from its method of work. NRM has two principles in its method of work. The open methods of work. Open methods of work does not mean that you run to the media to discuss issues of management. No. It involves discussing issues openly, for example, in a boardroom.
What happens if those members, because
if individuals do not agree, then there are channels, there are right procedures clearly stipulated in the NRM Constitution, how we can be able to manage processes in terms of disagreements. And this is procedurally laid down in the NRM Constitution.
What happens if, you know, like Tanga Odoi and others have said, they are not listened to in the board, they're literally trampled upon and stifled, their voices cannot be heard, and so they're looking for a way of, you know what, putting their voices out there, saying we are trying to talk about the sticky issues that are sticking out like a sore throat, we are not being heard within the party, so let's put them out there, hopefully we shall be heard and attended to.
There are several procedures, and I think we have not exhausted them before we run to the media. First of all, we have what we call, at a management level, we have what we call the top management meeting, where directors and commissioners sit and discuss management issues of the National Secretariat. I do not know whether that was exhausted, but if you fail to exhaust that, there is another avenue for anybody in the leadership of the party. That is the Central Executive Committee. You can petition the Central Executive Committee and petition the Central Executive Committee and present your issues as you may have to the Central Executive Committee. If the Central Executive Committee does not give adherence to your views, you still have an avenue at the National Executive Committee, or alternatively, the National Conference. So there are hierarchies within which we can be able to manage this issue, these internal issues, before even running to the media. There are a lot of avenues internally that we can use to manage internal issues of the party.
Augustine, who funds your party? I know that some of the contributors are NRM MPs, many of whom, by the way, keep flouting. They don't remit the monies as should, and your party has complained. They at some point threatened to discipline some of them. You know, that quite did not happen because they're meant to remit money every month, but many of them have not. They've got arrears that came from your party. And so I keep wondering, who funds your party? Where do you guys get your money from?
Well, it's very interesting. One, we are funded by volunteers within the party. That is the MPs, for example, and the LOC5s. They make contributions, as you have already stated. Then two, as a political party, we have well-wishers, both within Uganda and outside Uganda, in Africa and outside Africa, who actually make their contributions to the political party activities. But also, lately, we are funded by government, because under Political Parties Management Act, we are funded under the iPod umbrella, and I believe you are aware of this. So these are part of the sources of income that we have as a political party. But we have also had contributions from well-wishers. During campaigns, we received animals, we received monies, we received the land, donations from Ugandans who love the NRM as a political party. So that's where we get our funding.
There was a time when the Electoral Commission was concerned that the NRM and a couple of other parties were not filing returns with them. The law requires that you file returns with the EC on an annual basis. This is how much we get, this is how we're spending it. There was only one party, according to the EC at the time, that was filing those returns, and you guys had not. Have you caught up? Are you doing that? Do you declare that, you know what, this is how much we have gotten from where, these are the channels, and this is how we are spending it?
Yes, we do that now.
When did you last do
we
it
have
as
not
a party?
We have not had any audit queries at the moment.
When did you last do it as a party?
We did it last year.
Are you sure about it?
Yes, I'm very sure. We are audited every year.
Who audits you?
The Auditor General. Part of the funding that comes from government.
That's the funding that comes from government. How about
we also do
the rest of the money that you get from these different
individuals?
We
file returns. We file returns. We are one of the most committed party in terms of filing this. From the time we obtained a full secretariat, a full-time functional secretariat, we have been able to manage this.
You say that as the ruling party, you have access to funds and you can raise funds from individuals and networks and so on. Does it not bother you that as a party that's been around for 30 plus years, you don't even have a home of your own? Parties that began yesterday have got a structure which they call their own. You guys are renting across the country. There was a time when you were being thrown out of, I forget, the district office. You had rent arrears for years that are not being paid. It's quixotic, it's unbelievable that a party that's been around for over 30 years, you say you get a lot of money from your different contributors. You said in your own words, you're in power, and so you are connected. That you have failed to raise money to either buy or put up a structure of your own?
Well, that's not the case now. That's not the case, because as a political party, I want to say that from the time we obtained a full functional secretariat, we have been able to address some of the gaps that have been available, and very soon you will be seeing the work of construction starting.
When and where is it going to start? Because we've been hearing about construction work for the last 10 years.
We have the land. We have the land. We have the money. The money was fundraised. It's just a matter of time. You see, at the moment, when you see the Secretary General saying we want to align the staff, it means that their priorities are arranged. As an organization, you arrange your items and according to the list of priorities. Maybe at a few years back, construction was not a priority. Probably it was a management issue. When the Constitution was amended and the Secretariat was fully constituted as a full-time Secretariat, that issue of issues of management, filing returns, and other recruitment issues were being handled. And I think we are now graduating to other very important issues of, for example, construction of the NRM house, and I believe it will be done.
You say that you've graduated from issues of management, meaning you've dealt with those squarely. But what's happening at the Secretariat are fights that are tethered to management failures, management squabbles. I understand there are two factions at the NRM Secretariat. There's that which is behind Justine Kasule Lumumba, then there's the Tanga Odoi-led faction, and there's fighting left, right, and center. So when you say you have fixed management issues, I'm thinking, have you?
Well, you see, management is a complex issue. I'm a student of management myself. You cannot avoid having differences in an organization. Even in NTV, you cannot.
At least we don't have two factions.
One of the things that I can, but you will always have issues. You will always have differences. You will have staff with differences. But that does not mean that the organization should stop running. We can be able to manage issues as they arise while the organization is moving. For example, you can, when we talk about the restructuring process, we must have an administration that is able to be responsive to the new challenges of the organization. So when a restructuring process is sanctioned, I believe it is an institutional process. This is not Lumumba's process or Tanga's process. It is an institutional process that was sanctioned by the leadership. And Lumumba, as a head of the National Secretariat and head of administration, is only implementing it. And I think it is important that we appreciate that in every organization, administration is the lifeblood of an organization. And for this case, the law is clear. Lumumba is the head of the administration.
You know, when this whole structure as it is was put in place just before the elections, some folks will tell you that the president, or your party for that matter, was trying to make a statement to Amama Mbabazi, the man. Let's show you we can fix this, hire people, give them all these cars, personalized plates. You seemed to waste money on relevant issues, and now you cannot, on irrelevant issues, and now you cannot focus on the relevant ones like paying staff, which is quixotic. I don't understand that management-wise. But that you were just trying to send out a statement, and there was little, if any, planning put to this, that now we are going to have a secretariat structure, we're going to have people appointed, we are going to recruit all these people to show that work can be done, and the chickens are coming home to roost, because now when we get to this place, there's a couple of staff, salaries have not been paid, fighting all over the place. That means there was little, if any, planning put to this.
I doubt, because one of the things that we must appreciate is that in every organization, change is inevitable. And by streamlining, it does not mean that NRM does not have the resources to manage its affairs. What NRM is only doing is it's trying to enhance effectiveness and efficiency so that the staff do not have duplication in terms of their roles. They are able to be productive and effective in whatever they are doing. And I think when you say that we wasted a lot of resources in terms of buying vehicles, but you cannot be a Secretary General without, for example, transportation. Because
well, you can and should have transportation, but
you are mobilizing for the party in the whole country, and I think, to me, that was important. That was key in ensuring that these principals within the NRM Secretariat have a means of transport that can enable them manage party affairs as they arise.
You see, I do agree with you. You know, transportation is important, especially if you're going to crisscross the country, but can't there be modest transportation? Because here is what I see, you know. This is akin to a young man who wants to show off to his contemporaries, you know, that I've arrived, I've got some money. He probably acquires a loan or spends his savings, buys this huge car, personalized plate, spends money on all these different things, and then before you know it, the young man is broke. That's your situation. You know that you spent money on all the different things, personal, and that's just an example of the many several other things, you know. And now here you are broke. I know, of course, for you, you are saying that, look, it's restructuring, we're trying to streamline. That's not what your SG, your boss, said. She said, look, we don't have money, so we are going to lay off these guys, and then we see if we can, you know, retain a few that we can afford to pay. Because the 400 plus, in Howard, you guys cannot afford to pay them.
You see, she did not give brokenness as one of as the only reason.
That's the major reason she gave. Of course, she didn't use the word brokenness, but she said, "Look, we don't have funds."
If you attended the conference, you'd actually realize that she gave other reasons. For example, by the time she came, we had some staff who were operating in the NRM Secretariat, and these staff were appointed by the former Secretary General. She also recruited some few individuals, and you actually realize that some of the individuals who were holding positions previously are holding these positions without probably good academic qualification or something. You find that probably somebody who is having a certificate or a diploma is heading a department, and below him he has other individuals. So she gave another reason as rearranging the effectiveness of the Secretariat so that we can be able to efficiently and effectively manage costs, but at the same time be productive.
But her salary has not been paid for a while. In fact, she said that in response to Tanga Odoi, who at some point called a press conference saying, "Look, I've not been paid for months." And in response, she said, "Look, Tanga Odoi, I've also not been paid, but I'm not crying all over the place. I've not been paid for months, but I'm continuing to work." And for me, that concerned me, that if people are working, they've not been paid for months on end, there's a problem.
You see, the difference between a political party and government is that government has employees. In a political party, we have cadres.
No, but you hired these guys as employees, didn't you?
Allow me submit. In a political party, we have cadres. In government, if you are not paid, you can demonstrate and petition and make all sorts of noise. In a political party, it is a calling, and it's our duty as cadres to ensure that we serve the party.
So why didn't you give people appointment contracts? We have hired you, we are going to pay you this much.
Well,
because if it's on voluntary basis, then you should indicate that, you know what, Otuke, we are hiring you on voluntary basis. But if Otuke, you're given a contract, we are going to be paying you this much per month.
Yes.
At the end of the day, they cannot say, "No, we shan't pay you because you are a cadre." Does that make sense to you?
Haven't you ever wondered why NRM Secretariat staff, or let's say, for example, let me give you another political party, FDC or DP, do not go to the street because they have not been paid? Because to political parties, it is not about employment. It is a service. It's a calling to serve. As simple as that. So if you are a cadre and you believe in FDC and you believe in NRM, and you have been appointed by the Secretary General to serve, it will be your duty and a calling to serve. As simple as that. It is not employment. That's why Lumumba cannot complain to the media that we have not been paid. That's why most of us, you've never seen us anywhere complaining that we are not paid, because ours is a calling, it's a cadreship, and that's what political parties do.
Your party set out a manifesto. I don't know if that's what you are holding there. No, that's the constitution of your party. You set out a manifesto for 2016. Do you think you guys are on track?
Yes, we believe we are. As a national secretariat, under the leadership of Honorable Kasule Lumumba, she has already embarked on assessment of some of the commitments that we made as a political party. And she's working closely with the manifesto monitoring unit to ensure that we are keeping ourselves on track. Very soon you will see this in the news.
What have you achieved so far? This is 2018. It's 2 years, actually, pretty much,
yes,
since you began this new term. What have you achieved so far?
No, this will be communicated. I do not want to
preempt.
I do not want to preempt. There are a lot of things.
You should be excited to tell us that by the way we've done this, we've done the other.
There are a lot of things that are going on.
Those that
there are a lot of things that are going
naysayers, as you people call them.
No, there are a lot of things that are going on.
Like what?
I get surprised if you are not aware.
That's why I want you to make me aware.
There are a lot of roads being constructed. There are a lot of activities that government has embarked on, and some of them you cover them in your news times. We are watching them. So I do not want to preempt the work of the Secretary General, but I believe she's going to address the nation in line with the manifesto implementation. How far we have gone, how far we have come, and what is remaining as our commitment for the remaining term of office. I
keep wondering, do you folks hold yourselves accountable in planning, project planning, or whatever the case might be? There's such a thing as monitoring and evaluation, that when you set out to do certain things, you pause at some point and you reflect and say, are we still on track? in terms of literally everything? Promises that we have made, things that we are trying to do, are we on track? Or are we continuously doing the same thing? And it's not giving us the results that we want, but we keep doing it. Do you guys do that, especially at the Secretariat? Because you're expected to be the engine of this party. You're expected to be the, the brains. You're doing research for the party, so you're expected to be the engine. Put together these ideas, see whether or not they are working, see whether or not they need to be tweaked. Does that happen?
Yes, it does, because as I've told you, there have been a lot of things that have been going and being done by the management of the Secretariat, and this is being put together, and the nation will be briefed about it. We have been doing sector reviews, sector by sector. We have also, as a Secretariat, been able to engage with the OWC, because there were a lot of complaints about OWC program, and we've been able to engage with the leadership of the OWC program and been able to understand how far we have come, what needs to be done, what changes need to be done, and so many other programs that government has been embarking on. Like, for example, youth livelihood program. As a political party, we have always been keen on in ensuring that we enhance the functionality of some of these programs, like the Women Fund, the Youth Livelihood Program, and many others. So we've been doing this. The Secretary General, what you also need to know, the Secretary General is an ex-officio to Cabinet, apparently. And she's been making a contribution in
the
ensuring...
The Secretary General of a party is
yeah.
an ex-officio member of Cabinet. How does that
work?
Where is that written? Which
law are you
quoting?
That is within our modalities of operation.
Is it in your constitution?
This is within our modalities of operation.
Do you not see a problem with that? Because the political party should operate as a political party. Cabinet should operate as cabinet.
But are you aware that the government in power is NRM?
So what does that...
Don't you think that it is prudent for the leadership of the party that has made commitments, that has made a social contract with the people, to know what government is doing? So
are you then justifying why RDCs do your party work? Are you justifying why, until not long ago, we had a gentleman, your Deputy Secretary General, Richard Todwong, who was sitting on cabinet but doing NRM work, and I was paying him using my tax money, and by me I mean Ugandans, to do party work? Do you not see a problem with that? I thought there should be separation. Yes, there's the ruling party, but then there's government, which should operate as government, exclusive of the party functionaries and the work.
I think you need to understand this. One, the RDCs are not officials of the NRM Secretariat.
But they've been doing NRM work as if they belong to the Secretariat.
Just a minute. In every district we have a staff that operates, that runs our office, who is actually a focal person in ensuring that we monitor what happens in that district. RDC does not report to us. He does not report to the NRM Secretariat. We have what we call admin secretary in the district. Then we also have the party structures at the district that ensure that they monitor what happens in government. That is why I'm saying that the national chairman, who doubles as a head of state, inviting the Secretary General to cabinet, is only saying she should know what is happening in government, because she is the head of a political party that has made the social contract with the people of Uganda.
How long have you been a part of the NRM? When did you join it?
I joined it from the university.
That's how long ago? You've not answered the question.
You
could have joined, you've been in university 20 years ago.
2007.
2007.
Yes.
What drew you to the NRM?
I believed in the NRM ideology of nationalism and Pan-Africanism. Those were the first two things that drew me to NRM.
What's the NRM ideology again?
There are two principles of NRM ideology. That's nationalism and Pan-Africanism. Is
that an ideology? Are those core values?
No, those are principles of NRM ideology.
Principles of NRM ideology?
Yes.
What and what?
We believe in nationalism, and we also believe in Pan-Africanism.
So those are the principles of the ideology?
Yes.
What then is the ideology, if it exists?
Socio-economic transformation. That's our ideology.
That's your ideology?
Yes.
You know why I like to ask that question?
Yes,
to
that's our ideology.
It's because each NRM official I ask, they normally give me a different answer altogether.
It is.
The time I ask we give me a different thing altogether, and several others. So how many ideologies do you people have?
NRM is multi-ideological.
Is that so?
But whatever we do in that multi-ideology is for socio-economic transformation. whatever we do, whether democracy, whether nationalism, whether Pan-Africanism, it is geared towards socioeconomic transformation.
So you're like a man with many heads?
No.
When you say it's multi-ideological?
You see, you can have many targets. You can have one strategy, many tactics, as simple as that.
So do you still believe in the ideals of the party that you joined, what, 8 years ago?
Yes,
no,
I
actually
do.
more than that.
I did.
9 years ago.
Yes, I still believe in it. Yes, I still believe in it.
Where do you think it could be going wrong? Because I'm sure as a member, there are times you feel we need to fix this, we need to do this better, and so on. Where do you think your party needs to improve?
Well, one, what we also must appreciate is that much as the NRM party, political party, is the party in power, it is not NRM cadres who are running government, because government is for all Ugandans. So what we must appreciate is that some of these challenges that we are having within our government is for all Ugandans. Some of these government officials believe in other political parties, but they are running they are actually implementing the NRM manifesto. So I think that is, to me, that's where the problem is. There is need to draw a linkage between a political party that has won elections and that is in power with a government in power. Because if there is no linkage between a government and a political party in power, we're going to continue seeing all this mess that we're seeing. For example, corruption. You cannot be sure who is corrupt. Because
that's so?
I'm telling you, because we have yes.
So if 10 billion shillings disappears, it just grows wings. You cannot be sure who misappropriated or stole that money.
You see, what I'm saying, what I'm saying is this: that there is no yardstick to measure that the person who is corrupt is NRM. It is not there, because some of these bureaucrats that you see running NRM government are actually do not believe in NRM. So these are the challenges. This is what I'm saying, that we must, going forward, whether NRM, whether any other political party comes into power, we must have a linkage between a political party that is in power with a government in power.
You talked about, as a party, you are in power, and so you have access to resources and to networks, and so you can raise money. Does that then mean that when you get out of power, because that will happen anyway at some point, you will cease to exist as a party, because you will not have your godfather, who is the president currently, you will not have the access to resources and the networks that you talked about, which you attributed to your being in power currently? Does it bother you that perhaps when you people leave power, you will cease to exist as a party?
Far from it.
Tell me about it.
Because NRM as a political party has structures, right from the village up to national level. If, for example, the founder leader, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, is not there, I do not think we shall have a leadership vacuum, because we have leaders in all political structures, and all these political structures are potential leaders to lead NRM. So I do not think we are going to be in a vacuum. We are not at all worried about it.
Those structures that you talk about, the individuals, are they subservient to the party because they believe in the party, or because they probably believe in what the party can dole out to them? Do you envisage a situation where, like, you know, the UPC as an example, with all its challenges, there are sections of this country where people are die-hard UPC members. They don't get anything from the party, but long after it is out of power, they are still die-hard members. Do you think that will happen for the NRM? Because sometimes you're thinking, but perhaps you people need to screen a little bit more. These guys that are with us, are they real friends, or are they pecuniary friends? Meaning they are friends because of, you know, what we have. You know, as an individual, if you have some money on you, the friends are plenty. When the money disappears, they disappear with the money.
Well, you see, in every society or in every organization that is big like NRM, a mass organization like NRM, you cannot have not everybody who comes to NRM under that umbrella will have the same objective. Within NRM, considering its size, you have the diehards who actually fund. We have them. These individuals who are saying, if NRM is not there, we cannot survive. We can do anything. They sell whatever they have to ensure that they fund NRM. We have that category of individuals. We also have individuals who are just there because they believe in Museveni as an individual. We cannot rule out that fact. There are people who are calling themselves NRM because they believe Museveni is the leader. Then also you have another category of individuals within NRM who believe that you can be in NRM because you want to benefit in terms of either project or funding. All these kind of individuals, you'll not fail to have them in a big political party like NRM.
How many people does your party have, the membership?
We have registered so far 12 million.
12
From the last time we registered 12 million.
So how do you know that these are committed members? Do they pay a subscription? Do they say buy party cards or that kind of thing? Because you know, when that registration that you're talking about was happening across the country, I bumped into a couple of people, and I was inquisitive as a journalist, you know. So why did you register? And this person, a number of them actually pulled out for me 2 cards. Said, you see this card here, this is my real party. For another party I'll not mention. But I registered for this NRM one, just in case it's my ticket to getting a job. And some others actually erroneously thought, in error, that when they queue up to register, they'll be given money. Only to find out, no, there was no money to be given out. Just registering as a party member. You know, so how is there believability to this 12 million that you talk about?
Well, I don't want to be definite about it, because the motives of the people coming to a political party are different. But I want to say that over 90% of these individuals believe in NRM. And I also want to say that during NRM is a mass party. In mass parties across the world, it's free entry, free exit. So if you want to join, you join. If you want to leave, you leave. And also, in terms of subscription, this is a debate that has been in the National Secretariat for some time. And it was also presented to the National Executive Committee. It was presented to the Central Executive Committee. And no resolution has already been made on that matter. At the moment, members are on a free registration. But going forward, I believe when the top organs of the political party make resolutions, there will be a say towards a subscription.
You are an employee of the Secretariat as somebody in charge of research. If this your party fired you tomorrow and you cease to get money from them, would you keep around as a member?
In political parties, they don't fire. You can only be redeployed. In political
what happens
parties,
if you're actually not redeployed? If they think your relevance has ceased or whatever the case might be?
You don't cease to be a cadre. You do not cease to be a cadre. If you are not redeployed, you don't cease to be a cadre. Yours is a calling. Yours is it's like a religion.
So you're comparing your NRM party to a religion?
Yes, I'm just telling
That's
you.
incredible.
If you're a Catholic, you're a Catholic. So whether you go to church or you don't go to church, you're a Catholic.
So you're relating Catholicism
I'm just
belonging to the NRM.
I am just giving you
people walk in and out, others cross over from different political parties because you're giving them money and so on, and positions.
Even in religion, people cross from one religion to another.
Not for money, at least. Or positions, like it's the case we have seen with you.
Not everybody who comes to NRM comes for money.
Well, we've seen many of those that have crossed over. They have been
not
given
everyone,
jobs.
Not everyone. Not everyone.
You know, and perks and appointments and all these different
Those
things.
could be
Otherwise, why else would they join?
Those could be lucky ones. Maybe 1% out of those who are crossing to NRM.
Let's wrap it up this way in a minute. You're a young man, and I'm sure you'd want to see your party keep growing and keep around for donkey's years. Do you see that happen now that succession debate within your party is stifled heavily? Whenever somebody sticks out their head and says, I'm standing for party chairman, that's the last we hear of them. And whoever dares to even begin this debate is labeled a rebel. Do you ever see the likes of you, for example, take over the realms of this party?
Yes. Well, as I told you before, NRM has structures. These debates will be within the political structure of NRM. The succession of NRM will not be debated in the public. It will be within the structures of NRM on how do we want to move as a political party. and the position that will be reached from the village to the national level structures will be the position. But I want to assure you, NRM will be there as an organization.
Well, we shall be here to watch that. Augustine Otuke, thank you. Otuku.
Yes.
Otuko.
Yes.
Thank you for talking to us this morning.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's it for The Big Story. Thank you for joining us. My name is Joel Senyonyi. Good morning.